I go to Korea and I sit down with a producer named Teddy who does a lot of their productions. And he's like, what girl do you want to cut which part? I was like, I don't know the girls. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, we'll all go to dinner. But that's not what I meant. I meant like, I just don't like you pick the parts. So we go to dinner a day later and I think Rosie had a camera. They were taking pictures and I said, you can't take pictures without me. And I like jumped in the picture with them and they airdropped it to me and I posted it the next day. And I woke up and my phone was hot. And it was like, I got like 60,000 new followers like overnight. I was like, oh, this is the real deal.
Welcome to On The Record, where we peel back the layers of a release with the creative mastermind behind it. Today we are joined by a visionary producer whose fingerprints are all over some of the biggest pop and R&B songs of the last decade. Tommy Brown, aka TBHits, is a Grammy-nominated, ASCAP Award-winning songwriter, producer, and entrepreneur. He's from Pittsburgh and his catalogue is stacked with chart-topping collaborations. From Ariana Grande, Justin Bieber, The Weeknd, BTS, Selena Gomez. His work has changed the sound of global pop in recent years. He's also the founder of Champagne Therapy Music Group and Publishing, which he co-founded with arguably the most powerful man in music, the head of Universal, Sir Lucian Grange. Champagne Therapy is behind multiple number ones and hits with artists like Drake, Bad Bunny, and John Legend. One of his collaborations, though, made history for K-pop girl groups in the US. It's a single called Ice Cream, and it features BLACKPINK and Selena Gomez. It was written in 2020 by Tommy Brown and Ariana Grande, for that matter, and Victoria Monet, now that I think about it. And it smashed a bunch of streaming records. Also, it was co-written, co-produced, and arranged by our guest today. Here with us in Australia is Tommy Brown, On The Record. I am so glad you're here. I feel like it is quite a privilege to be sitting down with you. You're here in Australia for a very special reason, though.
Yes, yes.
Why are you here?
Working with some of the top artists here, and I want to try to help be the bridge to getting them to the world.
And were there any standouts?
It's crazy because when I first came in, I was like nervous. I was like, I hope I don't work with anybody bad. And then when I went in,
I love that you were nervous that they would be bad.
I was like, I hope not, because I don't want to lie. But then I went in and it's so many different cultures and so many different types of music. And it was just amazing. I was like, everybody's so good.
And giving back seems to be part of your thing. You're very good at giving back in music and in the industry as well. Obviously, your parents raised you right.
I hope so.
What did they teach you about the music industry?
Well, you know, I come from a family that's not musical. Actually, not to be dark.
Let's go there. We're already very comfortable. We're both not wearing shoes already.
No way. My
I took a leaf out of your book. Yeah.
So, yeah, I started doing music when my dad passed away at 15.
God, you were young.
Yeah, I was young. And I feel like it's pivotal years when you're trying to teach a teenager to be a man. So I feel like when that happened, I kind of just started making music. And then I had my friend Apso. I would walk up the street every day and play him my beats. I thought I was like Kanye or Swiss Beats or Timberland. I don't know. But I was like, I just want to do this every day for the rest of my life.
You went through this really dark time. Your dad passed away. You're in this formative stage of life. That's when you form your ideas of the world and what it is to be a man. And you were essentially shown that the world could be a cruel place. And then you chose to take the path of music, joy.
100%. I think everything is in duality. Even when you look at religion, it's heaven, it's hell. It's boy, it's girl. It's hot, it's cold. So when everything's in duality, you choose the path you take.
Who taught you that? Was that mom or dad?
No, I think I've done a lot of research. I think my mom taught me patience, and my dad taught me hustle.
How many, are you an only child or?
I don't even know how many brothers and sisters I have. It got to be like a 10-piece. I don't know.
Oh, your mom is definitely patient then.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, for sure. Wow. Well, one of the big things I wanted to talk to you about is this incredible song, Ice Cream.
Okay.
By BLACKPINK and Selena Gomez. And obviously not by BLACKPINK and Selena Gomez because there's so many incredible writers involved and obviously you're one of them. I want to go back to the beginning. How did this song that broke all these records, especially in K-pop. It was like the first song by a K-pop girl band to chart so high on Billboard. I think it reached number 13. Yes. How did that song come about?
Well, what happened was it was a night that I don't know if you pronounce it Khalid or Khalid.
We say Khalid here, but yeah.
The artist, the singer.
Yeah, I say Khalid.
Okay, Khalid. Yeah. So he had a concert. So I had got called for a writing camp, and I called one of my very, very close collaborators, Mr. Franks, and Victoria Monet. And they're like, we're going to do something for this girl group called BLACKPINK, who I had no idea who it was. So I go to the studio, and it's a writer by the name of Becca Boom, who's incredible. And we start an idea, and I'm like, actually, I got some tickets for some people to go to the Khalid concert. So I'm going to step out, and I'm going to come back. I just wanted to make sure the beat was good.
Yeah.
I leave, and I come back, and I hear the song, and I'm like, oh, this song's actually really good. Then the next day or 2 days later, Mr. Franks was in the studio, and we had Ariana come in. And I said, whatever you do, don't play that song because it's going to BLACKPINK. And I was like, the song's really good. And I'm in the kitchen and all I hear is the song playing with her in the room.
Well, I feel like you set it up by saying that because it's really good, like as if.
Yeah, but I was like, don't play it. And he did. And she loved it. So what happened was she was like, let me just record a little bit. She ended up recording the song. And it was supposed to be a collaboration with her and them, but it just kind of, the timing didn't line up for that to happen. So Scooter Braun said, have you ever been to Korea? I said, no. And so he's like, I'm going to get the flight, send you to Korea, and you can go cut the song on the girls.
Can I know at what point was the song before you went to Korea? Like a lyrics done, everything finished song?
Everything was finished.
Oh my God.
And I had a version with Ariana on it.
Okay.
So I was like, mind you, I don't know who BLACKPINK is still. But I'm like, if they're sending me to Korea, it must be important.
Also, you knew about K-pop being massive at that point, or was it not?
I think K-pop has always been massive, but I think at this point it was when people, right before the hype. I feel like right now it's the hype. Mm. So this was years before the hype. So I go to Korea and I sit down with a producer named Teddy who does a lot of their productions. And he's like, what girl do you want to cut which part? And I was like, I don't know the girls. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, we'll all go to dinner. But that's not what I meant. I meant like, I just don't like you pick the parts.
Yeah.
So we go to dinner and this was a day later and I think Rosie had a camera and they were taking pictures and I said, you can't take pictures without me. And I like jump in the picture with them and they airdrop it to me and I posted it the next day. And I woke up and my phone was hot. And it was like, I had got like 60,000 new followers like overnight. I was like, oh, this is the real deal.
Whoa.
So I went viral in Korea for posting a picture with them. Like, they're like, Ariana's producer in Korea with BLACKPINK. And then
they all put two and two together.
Yes. And so what ended up happening was the dates didn't align for them to do it together, which I'm sure they're going to do something else together. But Selena Gomez ended up being on the song.
How did she end up being on the song?
The label put her on the song because I didn't know she was on the song.
Okay.
And then right before it came out, the label said that they put her on the song because they wanted a feature. And boom, it was a huge song for them globally.
And had you worked with Selena before?
No, that's the first and only time I've worked with Selena.
And did you get to work with her much, or at that point was it just she recorded her parts and it was hands off, or you were involved once she got involved too?
They sent me the vocals.
God.
And I was like, okay, I'm like very much like, it doesn't matter who the artist is. I'm very much like, let me go and work on these vocals and let them tell me I've done too much or they love it.
And I also love that you've got this beautiful, long-running collaboration partnership with Victoria Monet. Obviously, had a banner year last year. Oh my God.
Yes.
Like, was it 3 Grammys, Billboard Award, like basically every award that you could get. And you've been working with her since 2012.
Yes.
What was it like working with her on this specific song? Are you two just like, you're just in your flow at this point?
Yes, I think actually we were working, I won't even say 2012. I want to say 2009, 2010.
Oh, early. Yeah.
Because it takes a little bit of time to get success. So when people say we worked together at that time, I'm just like, yeah, you didn't see the 2 years of writing songs that nobody wanted.
When she was in a girl group?
Yeah, she was in a girl group, and that's how we met. And from there, it was like, she always wanted to be an artist. And I was like, well, cool, I'm going to help you. I'm going to do everything I can to help you be an artist. But can you also write songs so we can make some money? So it's really good.
That's a very smart trade-off as well. Also,
like,
wait, so you had something to do with her having this insane year last year?
No, I didn't. I feel like
you have to be an artist.
100%, but I think I helped lay the foundation in the beginning because she worked with different labels and different people. But I was just so proud to see her take the step to be massive. Yeah. And I can't take credit for that because she put in the hard work.
Yeah. She's very good at writing double entendres in this song, Ice Cream.
Yes.
Oh, it's so many.
It's so good.
What is your favorite one?
I don't know. It was a little controversy behind that song because of a couple of lines that I found out later, but
Get It Free Like Willie?
No. Whoa. No, I think it was something like it was like a Moses line.
Oh.
Played a part like Moses.
Oh, yeah. So there's like intertextuality with Christianity and everything in
and
there.
I think that was like pushing the line a little bit.
I love it how like in the jeans like Billy and stuff and Get It Free Like Willie is fine. You bring Moses in and you piss people off.
Oh, no, we can't do it anymore. Cancel.
So interesting. And then it's obviously recorded largely in English, and then there's a Korean rap verse from Lisa, which is very cool. But I remember when I first cottoned on to K-pop, it was largely in Korean. And I feel like it's becoming more English in a way with little bits of Korean thrown in. Is it necessary, in your opinion, for a song to have success for it to be recorded in both languages in K-pop?
I don't think it's necessary for that to happen. And I was talking to my a really, really good friend of mine, T-Ron Thomas, right? And I called him and we were talking about Korean music because we both go to Korea together. He's the first African American to win Songwriter of the Year.
Wow.
So he's having a big moment. He wrote APT.
Oh, wow.
Okay. He wrote 7.
Oh, my God.
With John Cook. And so it was like, he's having a big moment. And I called him and I was like, why do you think these songs did so good and some songs don't? And he said, Tommy, you know the answer because you do the same thing I do. And I'm like, well, what is it? He said, you understand that a Korean culture is just as important as an American culture. So when you put 2 and 2 together, you're merging 2 places together.
Tapping into 2 massive music markets.
Versus just saying, I want to lean in to one.
Yeah.
Because if it's in Korean, you're in Korea. If it's in English, you're here. So merge them both together, and that's a hell of a pot pie. Okay.
Has that changed your brain in terms of your collaborations now? Because Punjabi music is probably the biggest genre on YouTube, and Musica Mexicana is massive. So have you changed the way you're collaborating now?
No, what's crazy is I was doing that the whole time and just didn't consciously know I was doing it. I was just like, I understand what to do. So I just did a big collaboration with Nora out of India with Jason Derulo. And we were writing Jason Derulo's part. He was like, can you call Nora for me, please? And I said, yeah. And then it was like, I need something to say in Hindi. And so we put Hindi in the song, and the song did like 100 million views in 3 weeks. It was massive.
Holy. What else did you learn about K-pop from doing Ice Cream? Like the industry in general. There's a lot of unknowns for Western countries around K-pop. There's, talk of how it's there's the word slave gets thrown around when you talk of those big girl groups, when you talk about training and then the hours that they put in. I would personally argue that if you are going to be any kind of artist or performer, you should be putting in 16-hour days. But I wonder what you learned from being there and being immersed in it.
Well, I think if you're playing basketball, you put a lot of hours in. If you're playing football, you're putting a lot of underage hours in playing in high school and working out and having to do everything. So I just feel like it's a life choice on what you want to do. If you want to go and say, hey, I want to work at Target because that's my dream, you're going to spend those same hours working at Target. If you want to be a doctor, let's talk about how many years it takes to do that. And I think when you want to be a K-pop star or just a pop star in general, I think it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, and a lot of time put in that you get to spend away from your family. But guess what? You get to take care of your family later.
Do you think that the artists there and the industry there work just as hard as Western countries or harder?
I think it all depends. I think it's an artist by artist basis because I meet some artists who had a viral moment on TikTok and they're like, I just want to do a song. And I meet artists who spend hours and hours choreography and traveling and different things. So I think it all depends on who the artist is.
There was a quote from David Foster where he said to you, you're one of the only people who could have his kind of career. Yeah. And if anyone listening doesn't know David Foster, he's worked with Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, Michael Bublé, like he's had so many, his career is so decorated. What do you think that he meant by that?
I don't know. My one of my favorite things to say is I don't want to think for people. Because, a lot of times people be like, well, I think they meant, I just think he was given a tip of the hat and just saying, for me, it was keep going. Like, you work with a lot of different artists. And he said, what you also have to understand, which he gave me a great tip saying, break your career into eras.
Oh.
So like, maybe this era is hip hop, this era is pop, this era is R&B. Like break it into eras and don't get too caught up in one era.
What era are you in now?
I'm in love of my life era.
What does that look like?
I think I travel a lot and I think, you know what? I'm in my international era. So I'm going to different countries and working with different artists, whether big or small, and just trying to make the best music I can.
Well, I think what you're doing here in Australia is pretty incredible. It's so generous of you, and I think our whole industry is going to learn. I know you did an ARIA talk the other day, and that would have been massive for everyone in the room to listen to. But I think the flow-on effects of what you've done, I don't even think that we will see that until like far down the track. The conversations that you've had are going to be in those artists' minds. And then I hope that you really like gelled with a few of them and you can help export some Aussie artists, because that's one thing that our industry needs to get better is exporting music.
And that's what it is. I tell people like it's a plane ticket is the same price as like an outfit, and a hotel room's the same price as a pair of shoes. So choose your investments wisely.
Totally. And I also think talking about Punjabi music and talking about K-pop and stuff, I think the Australian industry could do really well to look at those markets as opposed to UK and US. We always look at UK and US as like, that's the ultimate. I want to go, I want to tour there. It's very expensive for Aussies to go and tour the UK or tour the US, less expensive to do Indonesia and India and things like that.
I say conquer your market first.
You think it's better to be big fish, small pond and then go?
Yeah. In my opinion, I can be wrong. I just think it is. I just like, these are the people you grew up around, and these are the people who are going to most connect with you and understand your lingo, It's like an artist coming out of Atlanta and being like, I'm going to go to LA to blow up. No, you got to blow up in Atlanta first. Once you get hot in Atlanta, then you do collaborations in LA and collaborations in New York and spread it. But you got to start at your home base.
There's a lot to be said for how patriotic fans can be. On this podcast not long ago, we had Sam Fisher, and he has this huge song, "This City," over 2 billion streams. And he says he spends a lot of time convincing Aussies that he's Australian because he had all that success while he was based in LA, and then now he lives in London.
I love Sam Fisher. He's so good.
He is so, and his voice.
I remember he came in like when I was building my studio out and I was trying to figure out finances. I had like a studio set up in like my room, and we had like, I think it's like 4 or 5 people in the room writing songs, and like my bedroom at like the base of my bed where my studio setup was. And I was like, I always appreciated that.
Oh my God. But now look at you. You got Champagne Therapy in partnership with Sir Lucian Grange.
Yes, we did an amazing thing with that. I thought that was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it still going?
No, actually what happened was when we first did our partnership, it was right before the pandemic. So when we did that partnership, I mean, we still communicate, but I think after that, I learned a lot, and I said, you know what I want to do is pull back, and I want to build my foundation more. And that's when I really started building Champagne Therapy, because when I did that with Lucian, it was like, let me think of a name and let me think of something we could do. But now it's like, now I have the foundation. So I wanted to come back in a place where it's like, look at this, versus it being like, okay, I think I have an idea. Like I want to go and wanted to build it first.
So what's the plan now business-wise in terms of having your own company and, you know, elevating artists that are tied directly to you?
I want to put out as much music as possible. If I could put out 1,000 songs a year with new artists, I would want to do that before I'm just only working with big artists, because I want to build the big artists, which I mean, I've been instrumental in a lot of artists' early careers. And I'm like, why not do that for us?
Oh, I love that. And I don't think you could do that if you hadn't, you know, worked with Justin Bieber and Chance the Rapper and, oh my God, Megan Thee Stallion, Ariana Grande, everything. So it's the position that you're in now has definitely propped you up to be able to take that next step for you.
100%.
Yeah.
Because it costs money.
It costs a lot of money. Speaking of money, you, on your social media, you joke a lot about being poor with royalties and all this.
Yes.
Can we talk? What is this? I'm confused.
So what I think is, just because you make money doesn't mean you make all the money that you're supposed to make. And so when I go and do the jokes, like, I'm just bringing awareness to a lot of people that I know who don't make money off their songs. So if you have an album cut on certain artists, let's say a big artist, and it's not on the radio, and it's just, it could stream 100 million streams, you're not really making a lot of money. So I feel like when I do that, I'm just poking a little bit at, I want to bring awareness, because a lot of people DM me like, well, you've done all these records, you're not making money. And I just want to bring that awareness to people, be like, oh, well, streaming is not really paying a lot of songwriters and producers. Like, and I feel like for me, bringing comedy to it, to where it brings awareness versus being online like, I hate this label, I hate this. Like, I want to go bring it to where comedy spreads a little further, that from what I've seen. So I have a lot more people hitting me up asking questions about it and trying to see how we can fix it.
How can we fix it? Like, I wanted to talk to you about splits as well. I had this really interesting conversation years ago with Cadence in LA. It was a very LA party, like at a house with a pool, and it was just like, whoa. And we were talking about her work with Ariana Grande and Seven Rings specifically, and she told me about the public fallout that she had by calling out the fact that she felt she deserved more writing credits with Ariana Grande. And I think that was a very bold, scary move for a songwriter to do. And in your opinion, was that worth it, calling that out publicly? But then on the other hand, we're in an industry which you yourself say is not fair.
I think when you sit in a room versus when you pick up a pen are two different things. I think when I sit in a room, I've worked with plenty of artists, right? And I work with a lot of producers and songwriters. And I look at it like, I didn't really do that. I might have said 2 words, but does that entitle me to what everybody else did? And I don't think that's always the case. I think you have to play it by case basis, because I've been in a room and I've thrown suggestions or I may have rearranged something. That doesn't entitle me to what somebody sat there and did 90% of. Like if somebody went and did 90, 95, 98% of a song and I had nothing to do with, I don't want to tap into that.
I've been very lucky in my career that I've been able to sometimes sit in on those writing sessions in LA. And I've seen how it gets later into the night and more people are just swinging by and they're pouring themselves drinks and they're sitting in the room. And don't get me wrong, these are valuable, incredible producers and songwriters. And that 2 words that they might say might change the entire thing and might be the thing that made it blow up. But I hear what you're saying though, because there's a lot of sitting around from people who aren't saying much.
And I think if you say 2 words that changes the direction of the song, I think that should be valued. But also, if you don't, I think that shouldn't be valued.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you write 2 words and you're like, hey, I want my 2% or whatever it is, but not, I think it's tough when it's tough when you're in a room full of 10 people and you see who carries the room. Especially for me, because I do it every day. And I sit back and I'm very observant. And it's just tough for that. And I feel bad for what she went through. But I also feel like those are earlier conversations and not later conversations. Like,
and what does that do to a career when you're having that conversation later, not earlier?
I think it doesn't do anything to a career if you're the one writing the hits. I think if you're writing hits, you're not thinking about that because you're going to write 10 more.
And you probably understand that relationships are extremely important. Yes. And having that conversation in a public forum, although I completely understand where those comments came from, having it in that way is quite detrimental to who would want to work with you after that.
Yeah, I think if you write hits, people are going to work with you regardless of what happens. Okay. I think if you're writing hit songs on a consistent basis, you're not going to be like, hey, they had a problem with that person. Nobody cares.
Oh,
I don't think anybody cares.
I love to hear that. I always worry about the music industry being quite insular and reputation driven.
If you write a song with Justin Bieber and you feel like you were slighted on the record, but you write 10 more hits, I guarantee other people are going to work. They're like, she's the hit master. Let me go work with her. Yeah. I think it's those things happen in the industry. And you never know who's wrong in a situation. But I think if you're consistent enough and don't sit, I mean, I've been on songs where I haven't been credited. And I've been on hit songs where I haven't been credited. But I didn't go to a space where it was like, you know what, let me make a public stance. This is wrong. I said, you know what? If I was really that good, I'll do another one.
Which hit song have you not been credited on?
It's a few, but I just let it go. And I just let it slide.
You're all class, Tommy.
Gotta be class. Gotta be classy.
I had to ask.
Of course.
I had to ask. So wait, you are on social media, you're joking about the fact that the industry needs a bit of a shake-up. Yes, I know that you're also working at it from an industry level, behind closed doors. Is there one part of the industry that just needs to get together and fix this? Is there... it sounds crazy, but is there a silver bullet if someone just flipped a switch? And what would that switch look like?
I think it'll come in time, but I also think that people need to come together. And I think what happens is the industry divides us into like, this person's hot. No, this person's hot. Versus it being like, hey, we're all the same group of people. We're not doing this unless this happens. But then you have somebody from Ohio who says, I write good songs. I'll do it for free because I just want to be in the industry. So it's tough when you don't have everybody banding together. I mean, look, didn't they just do like a thing with Target or something? I feel like I seen that on social media. Like, you can't shop at Target.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
But I feel like it's something similar to something like that where people have to come together and do it. Because if not, we're going to play the same game forever.
Yeah. You said something that has stuck with me since I heard you say it. You said, When the music industry is united, music is better.
I agree with that. I feel like before people were together, like when you had the Motowns and everybody else, but now it's just everybody's for themselves. And I feel like they use Lamborghinis and jewelry and all these things to separate everybody. Like this person's better than this person versus people coming together. Like we can get all this money together.
That's the thing that I think is missing from a lot of industries. And I think largely in small music markets too, they think that there isn't enough business or money to go around. And so people are very protective of that and less likely to collaborate. I would say that our industry has an issue with collaborating with other sectors as well. We don't collaborate as much as we should with the TV and film sector, for example, with the tech industry, with the fashion industry, for example.
I agree, because I feel like there's walls up between those places. Like when I started working on TV and film, I really realized that there's really a big wall between the creatives and the people putting the music in the films. Like there's a barrier of people who sit in between that, and who knows what their taste is or what their interests are and what they put into movies and shows. So it's tough. It's like if you're not going direct, like when I worked on the Creed 3, I was directly with Michael B. Jordan. So it was easier to be, hey, can we put Kehlani in the movie on this song? Or can we use this? Or what do you think about this? Okay, change this. And it makes it easier. But that's a very hard place to get to.
But that was only because of your existing relationship with Michael B. Jordan.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough industry. I mean, there was something I spoke on at the top the other day where it was like, I used to have to burn 50 CDs a night and pass them out at different open mics in Atlanta. Now people slide into somebody's DM and they're upset because they don't hit them back. It's just a different line of work and what you're willing to do to go provide for yourself. It's a tough, in any industry where you could do one song and make $1 million is going to be tough to make it in. So I'm like, when people are upset, you just got to work harder. Like you're not going to go and work at a certain job if you're not working for years and get your retirement. You're not going to do that in the first year, but with music, that's something you can do. So it's going to be a tougher career to work in.
I think we could all learn from your parents. Hustle from dad, patience from mom. I think that's like, together, that's a superpower.
I agree. So is ADHD.
You could zone in on something. I actually do believe that ADHD is a superpower.
I'm telling you.
I will say though, because I'm not neurodiverse, I'm neurotypical, that might seem like a flippant thing to say. And I think that people with ADHD, some of them don't feel like it's a superpower and it can be a hindrance. And I just want to make sure that I'm, acknowledging that. But are you saying you have ADHD and you think it's a superpower?
I think it is. At first, I just didn't know what was wrong with me. And then I was like, man, everything's right with me. Because it's like so many different directions. And I'm like, that's why when, let's say I do an interview and they say, here's the questions before the interview. I don't read the questions because I don't want to think of 75 different answers and then try to give my thoughts of being perfect versus just giving what my brain naturally just feels.
You might overthink it.
Yeah, I don't want to overthink it. And then like, I grew up, my little brother is autistic. And I never really knew what that meant till I got older. And he's one of the smartest people I know. He called me the other day. And whenever I see his call, I have to get on the phone with him because I'm like, he's calling for something. I'm like, what's up? He said, man, you know, I've been looking at the stocks. And I was like, okay, he's like 19, 20
And when
old.
he says looking at, he's been studying.
No, he's been on X/Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And he's like, I've been looking at the stocks on Twitter. And he's like, I remember you showed me your stocks and you have stocks in this company and it's really going down. I think you should pull your money out. I think it's a smart move. And I'm like, what makes you think of that at 19 years old?
Wow.
Like, he's brilliant. So
you need to work with him.
I am. He's actually moving to Japan.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'll come over and see you every once in a while.
Do some J-pop collabs.
Yeah. Easy.
Write it off on tax. It'd be great.
Yep.
Tommy, thank you so much for coming on the record. It's been amazing to dive into not just ice cream, but just your incredible career so far. And I am so excited for what I mentioned before, the flow-on effect of what your presence here is going to do to our industry.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to help. That's what I'm here for.
That's your thing.
Yes.
Thank you.